Gotta get where the cameras can see.
Okay.
You're good right here. You bet.
All right, everybody all set? Well, thanks a lot for everybody being here. I appreciate being here this morning to talk about this incredibly important issue to the state of Wisconsin. I want to start off by saying a special thanks to Lieutenant Governor Clayfish and Senator Darling for their leadership. Without them, this package of bills would not have been possible. Also to Representatives Rodriguez from Milwaukee, Representative Snyder from Wausau, who's worked tirelessly on this issue before he even came into the Assembly, and also Representative Pronshinsky from Northwest Wisconsin. So back in the summer of last year, Assembly Republicans gathered to lay out an agenda for this session. One of the priorities we shared was a feeling of urgency to address the problem of homelessness in Wisconsin. As representatives travel to Madison from around the state, it's really easy to see homeless here in the city, living in the streets, taking shelter in the Capitol. But unfortunately, after being here for a few years, it's also all too easy to pass them by without taking much notice. It's also far too easy to pretend that homelessness is only a big city problem, when it's actually a problem facing communities in virtually every corner of the state. Whether it's a single mom fleeing domestic violence and sleeping on a couch at a friend's house, or a father whose job was lost who can no longer afford the rent for his family's apartment and are now living in a shelter, or a veteran with signs of mental illness living on the streets, they all live among us and deserve our attention and help. So just to kind of give you a broad picture of the overall numbers here in Wisconsin, these numbers are from 2016. Nearly 27,000 people here in Wisconsin received homelessness services last year. Nearly 1,900 of those are chronically homeless. There's over 2,100 homeless veterans, of which 17% are homeless adult men are veterans, and 3% of adult women who are homeless. Those numbers reflect an overall decrease of 2 to 3% from 2015. So some progress is being made, but much more needs to be done. I also want to thank Governor Walker for including in his budget some priorities. He places a high priority on helping to address this homelessness issue in his budget. He inserts $1 million in TANF money that's redirected towards shelters, and $1.3 million to expand Opening Avenues to Reentry Success, or OARS, program to help mentally ill inmates upon release from prison to secure stable and affordable housing, among other services. So I'd like to start out by introducing Joe Volk. Joe has been a tireless advocate for this homelessness issue and really was at the forefront of bringing these individual items to our mind. Joe's been doing this for 35 years. He's been involved in nearly every aspect of service, including operating an emergency shelter, a domestic violence shelter, a homeless outreach program, supportive housing, and safe haven. He was also the administrator of the Milwaukee Continuum of Care for the Homeless for 10 years, and he is a founding board member of the National Coalition for the Homeless and has been a frequent contributor to our state discussions. So I'd like to introduce Joe so he can say a few words. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. I've been involved in this issue for 35 years. I had hair when I started working on this issue, and I can tell you that this is the first time in 25 years that this issue has been talked about in this building. Part of it was our fault. As advocates, we weren't here, but I can tell you about a year ago when we approached the Lieutenant Governor and the Majority Leader Steinecke, when we did finally climb the steps up this building, we were met with an ear and a caring and a promise that there was going to be some movement on this issue. So we're very, very pleased that after a very, very long period of time that the state is actually is once again going to be involved in this issue. I would like to point out and again to commend Majority Leader Steinecke for introducing the part of this plan about the proposed interagency council. In our view, that's a very important piece for two reasons. One, because we know that homeless people and families, their issues span the entire breadth of state government. You can name an agency, and the homeless probably have some needs and some reason to interact with that agencies. And second, it's important because it institutionalizes progress. We're excited for this budget and what the folks behind me are certainly doing, but we want to make sure that the progress goes from year to year. And so the council will institutionalize that. So once again, I'm excited to be here. I want to thank everybody, certainly from the governor and the lieutenant governor, the majority leader, and all of the other elected officials for finally taking this one on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Next, I'd like to introduce Carrie Poser. Carrie began her work with the balance of state COCs in May 2015 and is currently the COC director. Carrie represents these 69 of Wisconsin's 72 counties at the state and national level events. Prior to her work with the balance of state, she worked at Starting Points, a homeless agency in Chippewa Falls, and is an attorney focusing on family and landlord-tenant law. Carrie's input has been integral in formulating this package of bills, and she provides an important perspective into the statewide reach of homelessness. So, Carrie?
Thank you. Good morning. On any given night, there are over 5,800 people in Wisconsin that don't have a place to call home. They're sleeping in shelters, in cars, under bridges, in caves, and even in storage units. Some of them might be sleeping in a transitional living facility or a transitional living program, but all of them lack a safe, stable, and permanent home. Homelessness is not just an urban issue, it's a rural one as well. In rural areas, homelessness is often hidden, making it easier for it to be out of sight and out of mind. Homelessness is not just about single adults. It's about families and youth under the age of 18. In fact, half of the people experiencing homelessness on any given night are adults and children and families. The causes of homelessness reach across all populations: inadequate housing, domestic violence, mental illness, and poverty. Homelessness is not a partisan issue because it impacts all of us. People cannot contribute to society, achieve their potential, or create lasting change in their lives until and unless they have a safe place to call home. Homelessness is a statewide issue. It impacts every single county in Wisconsin. Of those 5,800 people that experience homelessness on any given night, 60% of them are outside of Dane, Milwaukee, or Racine County. They are in one of those other 69 counties that comprise what we call the Balance of State Continuum of Care, the organization that I work for. The strength of that organization comes from the tireless efforts of local leaders, skilled case managers, and dedicated staff committed to finding homes for people. These providers have maximized available federal resources and state resources. They use nationally accepted best practices, and over the last several years have had to radically change the way they've done business. They've had to embrace ideas like the Housing First philosophy and tailoring housing assistance to meet the unique needs of people and utilizing their strengths. Despite all of this, the number of people experiencing homelessness in Wisconsin counties has only decreased, on average, about 6% a year, and we need to do more. These bills being introduced today can help with that. They give us an opportunity to bring the right people to the table, to access more and different resources, and to try alternative approaches in order to end homelessness for those 5,800 people on any given night in Wisconsin that lack a place to call home. Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Carrie and Joe for your work on this issue. Without your expertise and your input, we wouldn't be standing here today. So what I'd like to do is just have our representatives walk through the individual pieces of the package on homelessness, and then we'll take some questions at the end. So we'll start off with Representative Snyder from Wausau.
Thank you, Jim. And good morning, everyone. I'm very honored to be part of these packages and to tell you a little bit more about the bill I'm authoring. LRB 2734 makes two simple changes that will make current homelessness funding more effective to help reach more vulnerable individuals. This bill eliminates the requirement that funding through GPR solely goes to transitional housing. By doing so, we're freeing up money that can be used for other evidence-based housing types, such as rapid rehousing or housing first models. Additionally, this bill makes changes to the way homeless prevention grants are distributed throughout this state. Under our current system, state homelessness prevention funds do not align well with the state's breakdown for providing services. Because of this, it is hard for money to follow an individual who decides to relocate to a different part of the state seeking employment. By eliminating this statutory requirement, we can allow for funding to be distributed based on need. Both of these minor changes to the state statute will give us the ability to make each dollar stretch farther and do more with existing resources to combat homelessness. With that, I would like to introduce Representative Pruczynski to discuss his bill.
Good morning. I'm Treg Pruczynski, representative of the 92nd Assembly District. I'm the Assembly author of a proposal that would allow WIDA and other public housing authorities to create a 2-year pilot program. That would give priority to chronically homeless individuals and families who are on the wait list for Federal Housing Choice Voucher Program. The current wait list contains about 4,900 people who can wait for a voucher anywhere between a few months and 5 years. This proposal is an effort to more effectively meet the need of moving families and individuals towards stable housing, while prioritizing those on the voucher wait list who are chronically homeless. Next, you will hear from Representative Rodriguez. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Pruczynski. The bill I'm introducing today takes a unique approach at ending homelessness by providing individuals with tools needed to find a stable employment and begin contributing to their community. We know that finding steady employment is a crucial piece in ending homelessness. This legislation is modeled after Albuquerque, New Mexico's There's a Better Way initiative, in which provides homeless individuals with work experience and job skills to transition them into the permanent employment. To qualify for the grant, municipalities must provide a match of $50,000. The Department of Administration must give preference to municipalities that partner with nonprofit organizations that provide services to individuals beyond the requirements of the program. This is a really fiscal responsible approach that has proven to be successful in other parts of the country, and I look to see it succeed here in the state of Wisconsin.
Thank you, Representative. And the bill I'll be introducing today creates a new interagency council on homelessness, provides the structure for that, and is in many ways kind of the linchpin of this entire package. Basically reforms state government so that the secretaries or directors of the 8 agencies that receive homelessness funding can find innovative solutions with those dollars. It also designates a position within a DOA to serve as the point person for homelessness services in the state. Right now, federal and state resources are kind of fragmented. Current agency staff have shown that collaboration provides results, and they will be essential for implementing the policies determined by the Interagency Council. Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish has expressed interest in chairing this council, and under her leadership with a written plan and the right performance measures, I think we can greatly enhance our fight against homelessness. So those 8 agencies, just for information purposes, are DOA, DCF, DOC, DHS, DPI, DVA, WIDA, and DWD. So at this point, if there's any questions that we can answer, we'd be happy to take some.
The problem with Title A housing is that there's not enough of it. So even if you reprioritize who gets the next housing, there's not enough housing available. How do you address that issue?
Well, that's something that's not addressed in this package of legislation. Obviously, it's something that we'd like to see worked on. What we really want to do is prioritize or allow for this pilot to prioritize chronically homeless to receive some priority in that Section 8 housing. But that's a longer term problem that we have to try to find a way to address. But granted, this package doesn't address that. Anybody else? All right. You guys have been easy. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job, Jim.
Thank you again, Jack.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Thanks again. Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you. Or if not, the children and family.
We got one more stop before.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.